Our first storyteller this evening is Kimberlli Joy. Now, Kimberlli is a regular on Bay Area storytelling stages, like Redwood Nights, About Last Night, Pretty Good Stories, Queen Stories, and the Monday Night Marsh. She's currently working on her solo show, Remembering Joy. And it's a coming-of-aging story, and this is a short excerpt we're going to see tonight. And we want to shout out Brian Copeland and Joyful Raven that have been helping Kimberlli grow as an artist. Would you please welcome to the stage Kimberlli Joy.
An excerpt from Remembering Joy, Remembering Joy. Okay, so the last time we spoke, I was in ICU. It was 2017. I was paralyzed from the waist down. I had a scar and stitches down the front of my chest. And I wanted to die. Not even the outpour of love from friends and family could change my mind. What did change my mind, though, was the drug Dilaudid. Oh, Dilaudid. From the point of entry, I could feel the warm flush just rush through my body like a warm, fluffy, weighted blanket. It changed my mind about how I felt about life in that moment, how I felt about my body, including my asshole. I had a newfound respect for my asshole and the asshole running the country. I was on drugs, Joe. I also was introduced or reintroduced to my 6-year-old alter ego, Penny. Penny was a fantastic, fearless fashionista. She had leopard skin tights, a purple tutu, a tank top, a bolero jacket, and cowboy boots. And she came to see me to answer those questions that I had. Why? Why is this happening to me? Why am I here? Why is this happening to me? She said, you want to know why? I want you to come with me. Strumming my pain with his fingers, feeling my life with his words. That was me at the piano when I was 9 years old, practicing my song for when family came over. Killing me softly with his song, killing me softly. See, my family was coming over because my aunt was coming to visit. Aunt. Everybody called her Auntie. From the time I could remember, Auntie was something special to everyone. I mean, when she walked in the house, she came up the stairs with this presence. She had a relaxed dashiki, a perfectly coiffed afro. Mom and Dad were always super duper excited to see her. Mom cleaned the house from top to bottom. Dad stocked the refrigerator. The house smelled like lemon pledge and roasted pork and collard greens. The entire Northeast family was in our house to see Auntie. I couldn't wait to see her. I wanted to practice. I wanted to sing the song that I'd been practicing for her. I also wanted to read from my journal, my poetry and my short stories. And I thought at some point, I'm going to do that. But the house was so busy, you know, music was playing, you know, let's get it on. People were dancing, can't hurry, love, no, you just have to wait. All the teenagers were doing their little side steps to make sure that they were in perfect sync. And then dinner time, we all gathered around the table, and we're a family full of storytellers. Uncle James was like, turn that music off. And all the adults would start telling their stories, the same stories that we've heard over and over again. And they're passing the mac and cheese and pulling meat off the rib as they're chewing through the same stories that we heard over and over again. But the kids at the kid table were making fun. And we were embellishing the stories and making them funnier, making each other laugh, spitting milk out at the funniest part, until we'd see the toughest person in the room shedding a tear, this toughest adult in the room shedding a tear right before they take that sip of brown liquor about the story of the granddad or grandmom or uncle or aunt that weren't there, or the story of the struggle when they lived in Jim Crow South and had to say goodbye to a friend they saw hanging from a tree. But this night was a night of celebration because Auntie was there to read from her book of poems. And we were all headed to the Eggleston Square Library. So we all pile into the library. It smelled a little musty. And all the kids sat on the floor, and the adults sat behind us in a chair, and the overflow was standing. And Auntie was behind the lectern, and she was a vision to me. I would stare at her in awe, and then quickly look away when I'd feel that she was staring back at me. And I remember seeing this really powerful light push through the window and illuminate the dust that jumped from book to book and shelf to shelf. And I looked around and I saw all the people in the room. Wow, Auntie got all these people in this room to listen to her. What is she here to say? And she walked from behind the lectern and she sat down in the chair and opened the book, turned the page and began. I didn't understand most of what she was saying. I mean, it was way over my head. But I do remember hearing somebody in the background saying, well, it was, in the early 70s and late 60s. I mean, women didn't have any rights back then. Of course, and they're just mumbling about women's rights. So, okay, this is about a woman in love and in trouble. And I do remember this line that she said, she was mean and small with a baby, alone and no help. That line chilled me to my bones. It was the best birth control ever. But I just remember listening to her voice. It was melodic and rhythmic and soft. It made my heart swell. And I was intense as I'm listening to her. And then suddenly, a ladybug fell right between me and my cousin Gigi. And of course, in true fashion, disciples of Granny, we did exactly what we were supposed to do. Make a prayerful wish, keep it to ourselves. So of course, we both made our prayerful wish. And then Gigi immediately started telling me what she wished for. Oh, she wanted the quick curl Barbie, the Malibu Barbie, the busy Barbie, the Barbie townhouse, the Barbie hot rod car, all the Barbies. And then she wanted me to tell her what I wished for, and I wouldn't tell her because my wish was way better than that. I didn't want toys. I wanted something more powerful. I wanted something real. But she wouldn't leave me alone. So she was pulling on me and tugging on me. And, tell me what you wish for. Tell me what you wish for. No, leave me alone. Tell me what you wish. Leave me alone. Tell me. Stop it! The librarian shushed us, which made Auntie look over her glasses directly at me. The lump in my throat continued to grow when I looked over at my mother and I saw her nostrils flare and her lips thin And if you know anything about a black mother, that's the sign of you gonna get it. So I walked up to my mother and I was like, Mom, I swear to God, I was just trying to, and she's like, you just go over to your auntie and you tell her that you're sorry. So I did that. And Auntie said to me, oh, I saw you over there playing with your little cousin. You know, baby, you don't have to be here if you don't want to. Oh, she sees me as a disinterested kid. So it was very natural for me to say yes without thinking when Auntie invited me to move myself from Boston, Massachusetts to California in 2006. This is amazing. There was trust was the first thought. The second thought was elation. This is my 9-year-old wish. I wanted to know my auntie and I wanted for her to know me. I didn't want to know her as the activist, the womanist, the artist that everybody was in awe with. I wanted to know the woman. I wanted to know my auntie as the human being that she is. I packed up my stuff without thinking. I did have one other thought. I was afraid. What if she doesn't like me? What if she gets to know me and she doesn't like me? And I thought, well, okay, she's gonna like me. I mean, what's not to like? And we're family. I mean, we just, from the time I can remember, Mom and Dad invited family into the house and gave them unconditional love like they gave me. And besides, I love her enough for both of us. When I got to her house, it was amazing. It was like a museum. It was a museum decorated by a Afro-boho literary queen. Every piece in her house was curated to perfection. Every stone, every piece of tile had a story. My room was a sprawling suite. I could do cartwheels. I could roller skate if I wanted to in that room. And when I opened the French doors, it led out into a beautiful patio. And there was a marble table and wrought iron chairs out there with a path that led to a lawn, perfectly manicured lawn. The grass looked like it tasted sweet. There were wisteria and jasmine and rosebuds. They filled the air. I felt like I was in a dream. I felt like I was living in the pistil of a flower. But I couldn't enjoy any of it because I was so intimidated. I was so uptight. I had just finished 15 years of working with unhoused women and nursing a broken heart. And I felt so privileged and so grateful that Auntie actually saw me and could see that I needed this hug from the universe. But I was uptight, y'all. Auntie was like, girl, I just need you to relax. Let yourself go. And if you want to cry, cry. Cry until you dissolve into a puddle of tears. And I remember walking across her lawn to, just enjoy the garden. And I stepped in the dog poop that was left for me to step in and tracked it around the house and didn't know it until we smelled it. And when I realized it was me, I was downstairs trying to clean off this poop off my shoe, and I was crying, and I just couldn't pull myself out. And she said, look, stop putting me on a pedestal. I am a human being. Look, just relax. She did everything she could to help me relax. She gave me books to read, meditation tapes, a car to enjoy amazing vistas. There was a cook there, making beautiful food, and if I wasn't home, there was always a warm plate waiting for me on the stove. And as time went on, I started to relax, which means, I, left a couple of dishes in the sink and maybe my shoes in front of the couch and playing my music a little bit too loud and doing things that house guests probably shouldn't do when they've been invited to stay with somebody for more than 2 weeks, like a year. And our beautiful conversations in the morning started to shift from very spiritual conversations to more constructive conversations. Like went from, you know what your problem is, to, I really want you to stop doing this or that. And I didn't mind it. It was criticism. It was constructive criticism. I came from a family where, we gave each other that kind of criticism. If somebody was failing themselves, we would let them know. I feel like tough love is the most powerful love you can give somebody. But this one day, Auntie started the conversation quite angry. She didn't have much good to say to me or about me, and I felt myself on the defense to the point where I just started crying. And she said, "Oh, you were just crying because I found you out." And I had no idea what she was talking about. And then she said, "Why are you here?" And I said, "Well, I came here to find out if I like California and if I wanted to move here, and you gave me a year to figure it out, and I'm taking advantage of that." "No, why are you really here?" And then I was like, oh, this is my chance to tell her, well, since I was 9, I had this wish, I made this wish that you could get to know me and I could get to know you. And she said, "Well, now you know me. Now, what do you really want? What do you want with your life?" She knew what I'd been doing, and I thought, well, this is my chance to tell her about my dream. I've always wanted to write. I want to be published. I want to be a storyteller. I want to get my stories out there. But I've never been able to share that with anybody because I've been afraid of judgment. Oh my God, that is ridiculous. Brave face, Kim. Brave face, what? I've had enough. I'm going upstairs. And she moved upstairs into her room. And I left the house. And I walked the streets, just trying to figure out what happened. And I started speaking to my dad, who passed about 10 years before that. And I was just like, "Dad, what is this? This is your sister. What's going on? You know her better than me." And he was like, "Well, if this is something you've been wishing for, if this is a dream of yours, what's going on? Why haven't you, what's happening?" "I don't know, Dad. I just showed her, I just told her what this is about, and she's laughing at." "Well, maybe she's laughing at you because, she's who she is and you're just dreaming." "Okay, Dad, whatever." I actually called my mother, who's still alive. And I didn't tell my mother the conversation because I was fearing my mother would agree with the voice in my head that my dad would say. So I just told her, we had this little fight and I don't know what to do. And she said, "You know what, go back in the house at some point. She probably just needs to cool off. You'll cool off. The two of you can come together and it'll be fine. Like, she was probably just having a bad day. She's been through a lot. She's probably just having a bad day." I said, okay. So I let some time pass, and I was late at night. I walked in the house, and in the house, my mother was right. There was this wonderful plate of fish waiting on the stove for me. It was sand dabs, beautifully prepared. I thought, oh my God, this is an apology. There was a note, it said, enjoy. I was like, this is the most biblical apology. This woman is amazing. Like, she just knows how to do it. And I ate every bit of the fish knowing that I deserved that apology. And I rinsed the plate off. I didn't leave it in the sink. And I put it in the strainer. And I went to bed, nice full belly, feeling really happy that it's all good, everything is good. The next morning, I woke up and there was a note. I need for you to leave my house as soon as possible. And there was a check. And it was a sizable check. The note scared me because I actually left my entire Boston life so that I could live in California and figure out if I wanted to live there. I thought I had a year. But the check was like an arrow to my heart. Because the check said, get the fuck out. I will pay you to get the fuck out. I did not accept the check. I packed my bags. And there I was, again, working to find resources for the homeless. This time, it's me. And thank God I'm resourceful. So I was fine. Penny brought me back to the body in ICU. She said, Kim, it's 2017. That happened in 2007. That was 10 years ago. What have you done toward those dreams? Well, I've been working. I've been gainfully employed, and I've taken a couple of writing classes, and I've done, no. What have you done toward those dreams? Here you are, hanging on to life like you hung on to that sorry-ass marriage of yours. And you still have not taken any movement toward your dreams. Kimberlli, don't you know? Our dreams are the architect of our joy. Why haven't you stepped into yours?
Kimberlli Joy, thank you. And as she let me know, that is a work in progress. There is more to come. So we'll learn more about where we can keep track of Kimberlli's progress on that story.